guys, and welcome back to Speak Up, a program brought to you by Fat Corner, where we throw more light into handling emotional and psychological issues facing us in the world and in Africa specifically. I'm your host, Kimi Ebisine Oginiye. If this is your first time here, or you haven't liked or subscribed to our Facebook and YouTube page, then please do so by hitting that follow button on Facebook and subscribe button on YouTube. Still on our theme on building resilience, I'll be speaking on maintaining the perfect work and home dynamics. The topic of today is maintaining the perfect work and home dynamics. So many families are struggling because most of us has not mastered the act of drawing a balance between work and home. There was a time when work was work and home was home. Boundaries between work and home were fairly clear. Today, that has become more difficult to maintain. If you're a working professional, the chances are you're spending most of your time chasing deadlines while managing your personal life. And this puts a strain in the work home balance. This has become even worse with technology granting us access to our work anytime and any place. And also with COVID coming up last year, making the working from home a norm. And so people struggle to create that balance. If you're spending most of your time working, your work and your home life might be negatively affected. Some of the consequences of this is fatigue. When you're tired, your ability to work productively and think clearly might suffer, which could lead to dangerous or costly mistakes. And this is not only affecting your personal life, it's also affecting your work life when you become fatigued. Another of them is poor health. Stress worsens most of the symptoms that are related to many medical conditions and puts you at the risk of substance misuse while you're trying to take drugs to be able to meet up. You just find yourself depending on them and your health goes down the worst. Another is lost time with friends and loved ones. If you're working too much, you might miss important family events or milestones. This can leave you feeling left out and might harm your relationship. And also, your family might start feeling left out as well. They would start looking elsewhere to be able to create that person to rely on. If it's your kids, then we don't know who they'll be using to fill up that gap that you're creating. If it's your spouse, it's the same thing. And before you know it, the marriage, the home is deteriorating. The other consequence is that you might be feeling burnout. You slowly burn out and you have nothing else to give. Then this then bring about depression and other mental health challenges. I know for some people it looks impossible to not bring work home, but you can still strike a balance and maintain a perfect work and home dynamics by setting some limits and following some simple steps which I'll be giving to us today. The first step I'll give to us is plan ahead. Plan ahead. Planning makes everything easier. If you plan ahead of time what you're going to do for the day, that helps you to utilize your day more perfectly. You would plan the timing and everything you're going to do. You're not going to wake up, sit in front of, get to work and have no clue where you want to start. But if you've already planned and allocated time and slots to everything, it helps you move faster in your work, freeing up time that you can use for yourself and for home to create that balance. Another thing is to identify and eliminate time-wasting activities. The truth is, there's so much distractions that we get even while we're working. We've got our social medias handles constantly popping up, telling us there's that notification. If you're one of those types who would always pick up that notification when it comes, then chances are you're wasting so much time you would have used in your work. You could then create a schedule while you're planning ahead. For my first tip is to create the time that you're going to use for your social media and social media activities, and so that's only that time is spent and you're not easily distracted, taking away time you would have spent at your work. Identify and eliminate them. They would help us manage time better. The third tip I want to give us is to set priorities. The goal is to work smart and not work long. You don't want to be working all day without working smart. This involves tight prioritization. Prioritize. Align yourself a certain amount of time per task. Having priorities will keep you away from unnecessary and unimportant tasks. Prioritize which of your work you need to do, which of them comes first, which of them you spend more time on. And that also helps you, even in prioritizing your family and knowing what time you have to spend with them. The other tip I want to give to us, which is the fourth tip, is to setting limits. If you do not set limits, work can leave you with no time for relationship or activities you enjoy. The point is to split work and family duties so you can concentrate on one goal at a time. So set a limit. It is vital to have some restrictions on your working hours, otherwise it will get out of hand. Set the limit that you're going to spend in working. Set the limit you're going to spend with family, with yourself. If you don't spend limits, each of those times are crossing and you lose control and you don't have time within to give to any of them best. The other thing is scheduling time for each work. This I think is quite important personally for myself. If I schedule my time, I'll give an example. I schedule that when I wake up in the morning, let's say between 5 and 6 a.m., it's the time for my workout. And between 6 to 7, I'm preparing for work. And by 8, I should be at work. This timing enables me that I am not distracted by anything else. I want to make sure that I am done with my workout by 6 o'clock. I want to make sure that by 8 o'clock, I am at work, irrespective of what I need to do. When I set those times, or at my work, I have set that for the first task of the day, I'm going to make sure I finish it by 10, no matter what. That helps me in being able to key onto that goal and reduce distraction, because that timing matters. Also goes on to scheduling time for family. If I have scheduled the time for my family that is going to be, let's say, between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., I'm going to try and meet to that time. Once it's 8 p.m., I can then log out and shut down from family time or go back. Once it's 6 p.m., no matter the work I'm doing, that is my time for my family. If I have scheduled that time, it helps me to be able to meet my goals and be able to create that balance between work and home. The other tip I want to give to us is to start early. Most times we think we don't need to start early. Starting early helps. It's one of the ways to get a healthier work-life balance. If you start early while the kids are sleeping, if you're starting early in the day while families are sleeping, the chances that you're going to finish early to give them time is higher. If you're dragging your feet and you want to start at the time that they are requiring your attention, then you would have missed out on that time. But if you start early, you should finish early. If, for example, you are one of those who like to work late into the night, that is fine. It means you're going to schedule your family time to the early hours of the day where you can spend time with them, and then you then go back to work at the night. You do not want to be working while they need your attention, or you're now playing while they are working. That way, you've not created that time for them. You've only lost out on creating that balance that you should have done. The next tip I want us to do is detach from work. This is important, especially with those working from home, or the frequent use of technology to connect to work can keep us feeling that we are always on the job. No, detach from work. Learn to detach. If you've created the time, once it is that time that you know that you're leaving work, detach from work. That helps you to be able to create that balance and have time to give to family. The other thing is to set family time. It is important to set family time. If you set family time, like I said earlier, to be 6 to 8 o'clock, that time is family time. You won't let anything come in between it. If you've set that time, you'll be able to go with it. I'll give you a quick example. Growing up, my parents felt my dad had to do a lot of work and bring work home. However, he has created time that the minute he comes home, the first 3 hours he comes home is family time, irrespective of whatever works that is waiting for him to do. He's going to spend that time dealing with us, cracking jokes, doing everything that we need to do as a family before going back to work. That is family times. Or weekends, Sundays are family time. Nothing comes in between. Once we set that family time, it is easy for us to keep to that time. The next thing I want to do is take time for yourself. That is the last thing I want to talk about. Take time for yourself. Work and family are extremely important, but in order to succeed both ways, you need to take care of yourself first. Try to ensure that there is a line drawn between work and leisure. If you do need to bring work home, try to ensure that you only work in certain areas of your home and at certain times, and you can close the door on it. If you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like to tell us your story, please feel free to get in touch with me by sending an email to info@factcorner.org or through a direct message on our Facebook page at factcorner.org. You can also put your comments in the comment section of this broadcast, and I'll try my best to answer them. Until I come your way again, speak up.